What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Kiwan, and I am back with the Braxton Season 2, Episode 7, Walking Down the Aisle. Before I start, y'all make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell button so you can be updated on every video I drop. Y'all make sure you like the videos so I can stay in algorithm. All right, shout out to all the new subscribers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. To other people who have been here, thank you. I appreciate it. To those who are still looking and searching and just kind of in and out, I'm your girl, okay? I'm your girl, all right? I'm glad that this season is over. I really hope that these ladies can actually work on their relationship. And I've seen worse. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I've seen worse. I think we set the standard so high, maybe because they are celebrities, and we feel like families should on TV celebs should have a certain type of decorum. But I was also glad that once again they have given us they've given us all of this. We know that things are bad, but we do want to see the good parts. We don't want to see people faking it in their relationships until they make it. If they I really just think that they can go and really get down to the nitty gritty. And if Tamar and Tawanda really don't like each other like they say that, or if that beef is one sided, then you all gonna have to get to the meat of it, down to the gristle of it to figure out what's the root. Like, what is the root? I don't understand. So we get to Tamar. She's actually releasing her EP this summer, and Tamar wants her Grammy. She wants a Grammy this year. I hope that for her. I want that for her. She's a good vocalist. She has amazing songs. I like her as an artist. Honestly, y'all, I don't know if y'all watched the last season of College Hill in New Orleans where they was at Xavier University, but she was pretty decent. Now, if she can stop all the antics, but that is just who she is, y'all. And I think we just gonna have to accept that, okay? So we get to the dinner rehearsal. Listen, I'm still pissed off because Tawanda has allowed her daughter to show up with that hairstyle. Like, I get allowing your kids to be expressive. I really, really do. I really, really do. But there is so much y'all could have done with that. I'm sorry. There is so much. There are so many resources, and Tony knows something could have been done. Trina is the only sister that is there, so she's representing all of them. Trina, I will say this, Trina is always there with each sister. She has never, I don't think I ever seen her not made an option to not, I have never seen her make an option to not show up. I don't know, but I've seen her everywhere this season, even last season. And in comes this goofy hoe in her man wig. Okay, if y'all don't know, I call Sean wig. Okay, and Trina asked them a question. She was like, are you guys gonna stay the night together, or are you gonna go separate ways and be traditional and just see her when she come down the aisle? I'm just looking at her like, I feel like that question was just something to ask, just to give some camera time. Anyway, we get a flashback from last season, and I'm guessing past times or whatever they were on camera, of everybody asking about their engagement. It is so odd that he kept saying he didn't want to without saying he didn't want to or he wasn't ready, and then all of a sudden you make yourself ready, and then all of a sudden we're on TV. Follow me now. We are on TV. The camera's getting ready to roll, and all of a sudden your wedding is supposed to be the main attraction on this TV show. All of a sudden. Okay, I could be wrong. Again, I told y'all, I could be wrong. Anyway, um, the lady from RHOP was there. Y'all know she came on as Robin's friend of I forgot that lady's name, y'all. And listen, shout out to somebody who was watching my channel and it was like, you gotta remember the names. I'm working on that, okay? Shout out to you, okay? But I really did try to find her name. It starts with a T. It starts with a T. But she was the friend of who came on RHOP when Robin had her hats in the, was it a storage unit? She was selling her hats out the storage unit. She was a really nice girl, fine husband. She was a really nice lady. I think she was just on that season and then she left. So we hadn't seen her anymore. So Trina gets up. She makes a speech to Sean and Tawanda. She tells Tawanda, I love you on purpose. I love this. And although the speech was really nice, and thinking about how her and Tamar, she was showing up at apparently she was coming to Tamar's house every Sunday. It feels like ever since everything had went down, you now have this thing for your sister. It's almost like you're taking on Tawanda's beef with Tamar. And I thought that her speech to Tawanda, I'm going to be fair, y'all, was really, really nice. Really, really nice. It was really thoughtful. But then when we go on this trip, you don't have this same energy for Tamar. And yeah, you just don't. I don't know. I don't like it. So we get to the wedding day, okay? And we see somebody parked in Tawanda's spot. And so it was one of the groomsmen. And she had a whole fit. Like, she was like, tell them get their car. I mean, it was nasty, y'all. Listen, I get it. She said, I specifically, because if I'm, and with Tawanda, if I tell y'all not to park on this side, I have given instructions, verbal instructions. I have given y'all instructions as to parking, and you still decide to park your car as if you didn't hear nothing, you don't know what's going on. Yeah, I'm going to be mad. I will say this. I don't want to take away from, because people don't, and I'm not a fan of Tawanda, but I don't want to take away her rights. Okay, when she right, I'm going to tell y'all when she right, but it's just crazy. I don't know. So we find out that her son graduated and he couldn't make it because he was about to be shipped off. Now, I wonder if she made it to her son's graduation. And if you guys been in the military, how often, what is it? Do they have a graduation and then a couple weeks later they are shipped off? So I do understand why he probably couldn't make it to the wedding. And do y'all know, going to basic training, do you actually know when, your basic training is going to end? When basic training is going to end, do you know the graduation? Because I will say this. I was going to give this lady a hard time about scheduling your wedding, but I also understand that production has a deadline as well. So I think in order for her to do the show, there were things that she had to miss. Even, I'm going to take into consideration, not Tawanda, Tamar's birthday weekend or around Tamar's birthday. I think production had to wrap everything up around this time. It's unfortunate, but I'm not sure if she went. I wish they would have shown a clip of her there. I thought we saw a picture of her son. I thought I did on one of the episodes. I honestly, y'all, I do not remember, but I think it was scheduling in production, which is why she was so stressed out that everything that this goes back to her having that conversation with the guy, her wedding planner, and he was like, well, I thought everything was happening in some odd months. And she was like, months? No, everything is happening in less than 30 days or, a couple weeks. It was production. And I think she wanted her wedding to be on TV. In order for her wedding to be on TV, and maybe WeTV had to pay for it, she had to have everything done around it. Her stuff had to be centered around production. That's what I'm thinking, y'all. I'm going to be completely fair. I'm going to be completely fair on this entire thing. Okay? Anyway, Tawanda starts to cry because, the handkerchief that had the signature on it was actually Tracy's real life signature. Like, that is how she signed things. And I ain't gonna hold y'all. I thought she was crying. I thought she was crying because with the whole, well, I'm sure she wasn't crying about Tamar not being there. Now the people say she may or may not have done right by Tracy. So I was like, maybe it's some type of guilt trip when it comes to her sisters, and some of them not showing up, or within Tracy's, not being there in the flesh, but just being there in spirit. I felt bad for her. I did. I think it's grief, and grief hits you at any time. Okay, and this being her wedding, and I think things happening so fast because of production. Again, I could be wrong as it relates to production, but her having to do everything and feeling like she had to do everything by herself, which, ma'am, this is your wedding, so you need to take care of your stuff. You can't, and she wanted her sisters, Tony, to take care, be there, and be the martyr for her, like she's the martyr. Ma'am, that's not how that works. However, I feel like the day has come. She's finally sat down and finally set in her wedding date, and everything came out. My sister not being here, I'm into it with my other sister. The frustration of the wedding, I feel like everything just kind of came in at one time, and I think that was it. It wasn't just tears of that signature, Tracy's signature. I think it was tears of all of it, but she probably won't never admit that. Anyway, Mama E said in her confessional, well, if it was me, I would have wanted all of my sisters to be there, be at my wedding, but it's not always feasible. Ma'am, you have created this. I'm not showing up for people who don't freaking like me. If you do not like me, if you don't me, let me calm down. If you're not a fan of me, and if you're not fond of me, I don't care what type of, if we're friendship or family, I am not supporting you. I will not. I had to learn that, and I had to learn to stop feeling bad. Yeah, no, I will not show up for you. In fact, you can have a good time and you can still go to hell, but I will not support. Okay? Anyway, this is what I wrote in the next scene. So we saw Brooke. She came in with her dress, and I was like, why in the attire? Brooke looked, she came in with the dress on. I was like, why, Tawanda, why? It's like y'all just threw this dress, put together a quick mix of dress for this baby, and threw it on her. Like you didn't have no thought. When it came to her hair, you was just like, okay, we're just going to let her do her. No. And you have her on a national syndicated television show. Streaming show. Is WeTV nationally syndicated? I don't know. Anyway, So y'all, Mr. Larry showed up. Y'all know Miss E and her veneers do not like Mr. Larry. Not like that. You know, she might think he a nice guy, but he don't walk like Denzel, and I'ma always remember that. All right. And I was like, why she got on a leopard pantsuit? But again, the color is brown. So I would have thought that Miss E would have had on a brown dress. Okay, beautiful girls, nice gowns. Okay, shout out to Aretha Franklin. But I thought that she would have on a dress, and maybe we didn't see her being walked down the aisle. It was just so much of this wedding, and I feel like if Tawanda would have waited, I think everything would have been. Now, okay, I would say this: the venue was beautiful, the church was beautiful, the decorations inside the venue, the table was very, very beautiful. I would say that. And if you didn't like it, you know, let me know what y'all thought. It was okay. It was beautiful. Anyway, so everybody, I think, starts to come down the aisle. This is where the wedding party started. And I'd have just been like, listen, I'll be here when I'll come at the reception time, okay? Or I'm just going to be late for this wedding because ain't no way. All right? So I looked at Tony. I was like, Tony, what the fuck you got on? Because I'm really not in this wedding, but because my sister is bitching about me supporting her, go get me a brown dress. As a matter of fact, go look in that closet all the way to the back and go get me that sheer dress. And I got some matching drawers in the bra to go under there that matches my skin. Okay, I go get that. No, not that one. No. No, not that one. I want to go a little skimpier. No, baby, that's too sheer. I don't want to match with them. I want to look like I'm Birdman, old lady. I want to look like that. Okay. Yay. That's the one right there, girl. Girl, I'ma eat the most up. That's what it gave. Sorry, y'all. Girl, it's like, Tony, what the hell you got on? Girl, take that off. Just sheer. Okay? You just gave Birdman old lady. Okay? I just never seen him with a woman as long as I've been around since Cash Money took over for the 99 and the 2000. You heard me? I never. Okay? Oh, Lord. Oh, that's the intro to 400 Degrees. Anyway, they kiss. All right. And yeah, I was like this. Okay. So we find out that Tony asked Tamar, you know, was she coming? Tamar still gonna stand on, baby. I was disinvited. I was uninvited. All right. And that's what my girl said she gonna stand on. So then we get down to Tamar. And oh no, let me see. Okay, so Tony said she asked Tamar to attend. Tamar was like, no, I'm uninvited. And I would not want to ruin anybody's day, because here is the thing: if Tawanda really wanted her there, the moment Tamar called you to say, hey, I will be your maid of honor, you would have said something. You left it open for imagination. You left this open for her to make her feel the way that she feel. And so when she actually approached Tawanda at the dinner table and said, I was uninvited, then you decide you want to play in her face and say, who told you was uninvited? Well, ma'am, if for me, I felt like if you really wanted her there, you would have been like, listen, I don't know who told you that, but I really want you there. And it was sheer evident, or however you say that Lil Bill didn't want that lady there. Okay? She didn't want that lady there. Ugh. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Tamar said that Trina and Tony she's talking to her medium, Taz the medium. Trina and Tony will be the only ones at the retreat, but Tawanda won't show up because Tawanda is actually on her honeymoon. Again, all of this has centered around the wrapping of production. And it just so happens that the way production is doing this, it's like, do y'all really like these ladies? Do y'all really want these ladies to resolve? Because it's giving production don't like y'all either, and y'all might want to leave. Okay, again, everything was centered around maybe production's wrapping, the wedding, her son's graduation, Tony's boy's graduation, Tamar's birthday, who else? And a retreat, because they wanted to, get all of this stuff on film. So then we see Vaughn. He had to head out to the hospital because his potassium levels was too high. They were at a 7 when we get to the doctor. So the lady who's his doctor, they had him to leave. So Trina left, and now we have to tell Tawanda. Now we have to cater to her and maneuver around her and make this big old deal. Like Tony was making this such a huge deal. Oh my God, how am I going to tell Tawanda? What is she going to say? Girl, listen. It was just... Also, I want to point out, this is another thing that happened at the wedding, Vaughn having to go to the hospital. Even though Tawanda did not know, but they instructed Vaughn to go to the hospital that morning. And instead of him going to the hospital, he decided he wanted to take his happy ass to the wedding. And I'm looking at him like, sir, you just a glutton for punishment, okay? Anyway, Evelyn don't like Mr. Larry like that, okay? And Sean must have a ding-a-ling of gold. Shout out to the Braxton sisters, okay? Y'all remember the song Ding-a-ling of Gold, okay? Because Tawanda acting like she ain't never been married, okay? I just, they died like they never died before, okay? This lady act like she ain't never been married, but again, this man, if you can compare him to Andre, I think I can understand a smidget, okay? Because Andre, girl, no ma'am. But that's a good man, Savannah. Okay, she think that that's her good man, Savannah, and that's what we gonna do. We gonna give her good man. Period. Okay. I am too old to be saying that. Anyway, so we had to catch the garter belt. The men had to catch the garter belt. So he put him in his wig in between that lady legs to get out that garter. And this is why she feels the way she feel about him. Okay? Take what you will with it, but it is what it is. All right? Listen. So they had to throw the bouquet. Y'all, they had a lady. Listen, let me tell y'all how determined a lot of people are about marriage. My girl came in that wheelchair, and right up there. I don't know who she was, but she was ready to catch that bouquet. Okay, come hook or crook. I am the 5th member, and I am next. Okay. Anyway, so Tony wanted to distract them to keep from telling Tawanda about Vaughn because she didn't want Tawanda to be sad on her date. I get that. That's fine. So we do the electric slide. Mr. Larry can't do the electric slide, and Miss Evelyn still don't like that man. Okay, Tawanda is still looking for Trina, and I'm over it. And this was the end of the episode, y'all. All right. I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.